$34 billion. That is exactly how much money companies in the US and UK waste every single year on unused software licenses. And yes, your company is contributing to that bonfire right now. Welcome to the SAM Fundamentals series. I'm Shub, the license nerd, and today we are talking about software asset management, or SAM, and the ISO 19770 standard that separates the amateurs from the professionals. We are going to break down exactly what SAM is, why it is critical for your business survival, and how the ISO framework provides the ultimate blueprint for success. If you are tired of paying millions in audit penalties and want to take back control of your IT budget, you are in the right place. Let me give you a real-world example that will make your CFO sweat. NASA, the agency that literally put humans on the moon, was recently audited by the Office of Inspector General. The result? They overspent $20 million on Oracle licenses over 5 years. $20 million, and that was just one vendor. The total software waste flagged in the audit was over $35 million. Why did this happen to an organization full of rocket scientists? Because they had no centralized SAM practice, unsupervised software buying, and zero visibility into what they actually owned versus what they were using. They were flying blind in a meteor shower of software contracts. And they aren't alone. Gartner estimates that 30% of all SaaS spend is completely toxic. It's wasted on unused licenses and features. In fact, a recent study of 6 million devices found that nearly 50% of all installed software goes completely unused by employees. Half of your software budget is literally doing nothing but taking up hard drive space and draining your company's bank account. Think about that for a second. If you have a $10 million software budget, $5 million of that is just evaporating into thin air every single year. And that doesn't even include the massive compliance risks and potential audit fines hiding in the shadows. So what is the solution? It's not just buying a tool and hoping for the best. A tool is just a machine, it needs a process to run on. The real solution is a mature software asset management program built on the ISO 19770 standard. ISO 19770 is the international gold standard for IT asset management. It's the blueprint that tells you exactly how to build, implement, and maintain a system that stops the bleeding and protects you from vendor audits. It transforms SAM from a chaotic, reactive nightmare into a streamlined, proactive business function that actually generates massive return on investment. The ISO 19770 standard is broken down into several parts, but the first 3 are the absolute core of any mature SAM program. Part 1 is the how. It's the process standard. It defines the requirements for governance, lifecycle management, and achieving what the standard calls trustworthy data. It provides a tiered roadmap to move your organization from basic, chaotic inventory to full operational optimization. This means establishing clear policies, defining roles and responsibilities, and ensuring that every piece of software data you collect is accurate, reliable, and actionable for business decisions. Part 2 of the standard is the what. It defines the software identification tag, or SWID tag. Think of a SWID tag as a digital birth certificate for every piece of software. It's a standardized XML schema that allows discovery tools to instantly identify exactly what version, edition, and patch level of a software is installed, without having to guess based on random file names. Before SWID tags, discovery tools had to rely on messy executable files and registry keys, which led to massive inaccuracies. SWID tags bring order to the chaos by providing a universal language for software identification. And part 3 is the rights. It defines the software entitlement tag, or SET. This handles the paperwork of licensing. It's a digital representation of your right to use, including the metrics, quantities, and dates associated with a license. Part 3 bridges the gap between what is installed, which is part 2, and what you actually own, making automated license reconciliation possible. Without part 3, you are stuck manually reading through hundreds of pages of complex legal contracts and trying to match them up with your discovery data in massive, error-prone spreadsheets. Now, you can't just implement ISO 19770 overnight. It's a journey, and that journey is measured by the SAM maturity model. Gartner and SoftwareOne define 5 levels of SAM maturity. Level 1 is chaotic. This is where most companies start. You're dealing with audits on an ad hoc basis, you have undocumented assets, and taking care of an audit feels like putting out a massive fire with a water pistol. You have multiple help desks, no centralized control, and every time a vendor sends an audit letter, the entire IT department goes into full panic mode. Level 2 is reactive. You have the bare minimum in place. You still don't have much control over what assets are being used, and your policies and tools are incomplete. You're surviving, but just barely. You might have a basic inventory tool, but you aren't doing anything strategic with the data. Level 3 is proactive. This is the turning point. You are finally tracking assets, analyzing trends, and predicting audits before they happen. You've moved from defense to offense. You have mature problem configuration, change management, and performance management fully in place. Level 4 is service. At this stage, IT is acting as a true service provider. Tools, procedures, and policies are utilized daily to manage the software lifecycle. You are able to define services, classes, and internal chargeback pricing. And finally, level 5 is value. Your SAM program is fully optimized. IT is a strategic business partner, alignment happens in real time, and you are actively driving cost savings and business value, not just avoiding audit penalties. You have enough accurate information to manage assets directly to business targets and adapt instantly to changing market conditions. So, how do you actually build a SAM program from scratch and move up that maturity curve? Step 1 is the most critical, and it's where most initiatives fail. You must gain executive sponsorship. If your CIO or CFO isn't backing this with budget and authority, your SAM program will be ignored by the rest of the business. You need a mandate from the top. You have to build a compelling business case that shows exactly how much money the company is currently wasting and how much a mature SAM program will save them in the first 12 months. Step 2 is establishing a governance structure. SAM is not just an IT problem. You need a cross-functional team that includes legal, info SEC, finance, procurement, and IT. This team will define the intake process for new software requests, establish a software review board, and create operational rhythms for renewals. Without governance, shadow IT will destroy your compliance. Employees will just swipe their corporate credit cards and buy whatever SaaS apps they want, completely bypassing security and procurement protocols. Step 3 is building your software inventory through discovery. You can't manage what you can't see. You need tools to scan your network, your cloud environments, and your SaaS applications to find every single piece of software running in your organization. You need agent-based scanners, agentless scanners, and API integrations to get a complete picture. And remember, discovery is useless without step 4, normalization. You have to clean that raw data so it actually makes sense. You have to translate thousands of cryptic executable files into clean, recognizable software titles and versions. Step 5 is mapping your entitlements to your installations. This is where you take all those contracts, purchase orders, and license agreements and compare them against what you actually have installed. This creates your effective license position, or ELP, which we covered extensively in the previous series. The ELP is the ultimate truth of your compliance status. It tells you exactly where you are over-licensed and wasting money, and exactly where you are under-licensed and at risk of massive audit penalties. Step 6 is optimization and remediation. Once you know your ELP, you take action. You uninstall those unused licenses that are costing you millions. You harvest and reallocate licenses from users who left the company. You negotiate better terms based on actual usage data. This is where the SAM program pays for itself 10 times over. Instead of just accepting the vendor's renewal quote, you go to the negotiating table armed with hard data and the power to walk away from shelfware. The reality is, 76% of companies are over-licensing right now just to avoid audit penalties. They are paying a massive fear tax to vendors like Oracle, Microsoft, and SAP because they don't have a mature SAM program. They are throwing away millions of dollars because they are afraid of what an auditor might find. But over-licensing doesn't actually protect you from audits. It just guarantees that you are losing money every single day. The only true protection is visibility and control. But it doesn't have to be that way. By implementing the ISO 19770 framework, establishing strong governance, and moving up the maturity model, you can turn SAM from a defensive, reactive headache into a strategic, cost-saving powerhouse. You can stop funding the vendor's yacht and start funding your own company's innovation. A mature SAM program is not just an IT initiative. It is a critical business strategy that directly impacts the bottom line and ensures your organization's long-term financial health. In the next video of this series, we are going to dive deep into the SAM maturity model and give you a step-by-step guide on how to assess your current state and build a roadmap to level 5 value. We will cover the specific KPIs you need to track and the common pitfalls to avoid along the way. If you found this video helpful, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and let me know in the comments what your biggest SAM challenge is. I'm Shub, the licensed nerd, and I'll see you in the next one.